Tonight I am at the Drunken Duck in the Lake District. Now, I was told by lots of people, if you're coming to Ambleside, you should come to the Drunken Duck. And I assumed that the Drunken Duck was actually in Ambleside, but you take a look around, this place is in the middle of nowhere. This is actually, it's pitch black. I've just driven here and it was literally black country roads, no lighting, up and down, really quite scary. So, and it's not very late either. It's only 7:20 at night. Now, the reason I've had to come at this time, because normally I would come for dinner a bit later than this, is that last orders at this place are at 7:45. So that's basically the last time that you can order food. So I've come here now to have my meal. Now, I booked this before I came and had to reserve it with a credit card. And I got an email from them today saying that if you're looking to cancel your booking within 72 hours of your booking, so obviously too late now, then you'll be charged in full for your meal. And that's actually quite a lot of money because this place is not cheap. It's a set course menu and the minimum price is £45 for 2 courses, or it's £65 for 3 courses. So basically sent me this quite aggressive email saying, if you're not coming, we will be charging you £45 per person. And it's me and the cameraman, so that would have been £90, so quite a lot of money. So I'm hoping that this place is going to be amazing. It lives up to its expectations because so far it's been quite punchy. Now, interestingly, I wanted to just talk to you about the name, the Drunken Duck, because that is one of the interesting things, that this place was a pub for the last 300 years. So it's a very old building. And supposedly back in the Victorian days, the landlady had a farm as well as the pub. And one day she came out and found all of her ducks in the farm were all dead. So she started plucking the ducks. They were all strewn all over the grounds. As she started plucking them, she realized that they weren't dead and they were apparently just drunk because some of the beer had spilt out of where it was being stored and went into the duck feed. All of the ducks got drunk and hence the name, the Drunken Duck. So I like the name, I like the story. Let's see what the food's like. This is the bar. Do we go into the bar or do we go into the restaurant? I presume it's all part of the same place, isn't it? Okay. So we now have the menu. So it's quite a short menu. As I said outside, it's either 2 courses for £45 or 3 courses for £65. Now the starters, we've got game terrine fig chutney sourdough, lion's mane, which apparently is a mushroom, potato mousseline, chimichurri, padron peppers, mushroom, parfait, jelly, pickles, crumpet, scotch egg, brown sauce, pickled cucumber, latke, mussels, brassica, coriander. Not sure I'm that keen on any of those options, so I'm going to give the starters a miss and go for a main course and pudding. So the main courses, we've got celeriac hazelnut Kiev, venison loin pie with beetroot fondant, autumn vegetable suet pudding, squash gratin, pineapple crumb, duck breast, duck roulette. It's a tricky one. So we've got, out of those, we have 3 of those are vegetarian. So 3 of the 5 are vegetarian, and we've got venison and duck breast. Not keen on either of those really as a main course, but I'm going to go for the duck breast, see what it's like. It's meant to be very good, this place. And then I'll go for a pudding. Now, interestingly, the cameraman has just asked for a pint of lager, and they don't have any lager. They've run out of lager. I don't remember being anywhere in my adult life where they've run out of lager. It's ubiquitous. Everywhere serves lager, they don't have any. They also used to have a microbrewery here, so I asked about the microbrewery, do you have anything available? It closed down 2 months ago because apparently the brewer decided to retire and nobody else could make the beer. So far, not very impressed with what's available and what isn't available. We also asked for an elderflower and soda water, and we're told that it wasn't possible to get that. We could have a pre-mixed elderflower and lemonade. Not great start. Okay, so they've served us some bread. So this is a house sourdough with the Douglas fir vinegar, which looks interesting. So this is nice and warm. Let's have a break off a piece of this. Dip it in. So we've got the oil with the balsamic vinegar at the bottom. It's quite deep, quite a lot of oil in it. The bread's nice. I can't really get much of the balsamic vinegar. It's just all oil. It's hard to get anything down the bottom. In fact, there isn't any balsamic. I think it's just black No, there is some balsamic in there, but it's really difficult to get it out. So I'm putting that all the way to the bottom, but none of it's coming out. It's literally just oil. So, tasty. Tasty. It's quite spicy. Tasty bread. Can't get any of the bit out the bottom, but it is quite spicy. Does it taste a bit like a fir tree? A little bit. Interesting. Interesting start. Let's see what the main course is like. Okay, so the main course has now arrived. I thought I'd read off the menu so that I don't get it all wrong. So we've got duck breast, duck relay, choc root, roasted apple and green pepper sauce, which I'm not sure I can pick out what's what here. But I can see the duck is in the middle here. So let's open this up and see what it's like. It looks very rich, very succulent. A little bit of this and some of the jus. So let's have a go. There's a stone in it. I don't know what that is. Is it a shot? Have they shot the duck? I don't know whether that's a peppercorn or a shot, but it's rock hard. Anyway, the duck itself tastes a bit overcooked. Let me have a little bit more. But hopefully it doesn't have any more shot in it or anything hard in it. It's very rich, very heavy, quite gamey, as you would expect with duck. But I think it's been cooked in confit, so it's like cooked in fat for a long time. Let me have some of the other pieces and just see what it's like. But my initial impression, not overwhelmingly positive. It's very rich and gamey. I mean, it looks very good. So I'm trying with these potatoes. The potatoes are fine. My initial impression of the duck, a little bit overcooked. It's a bit heavy, a bit rich, and I'm not sure what that was in it, but I'm going to ask somebody what it is, whether it's a peppercorn or a piece of shot, but not a great start. Let me finish the rest of this and I'll speak to you later. Okay, so the cameraman has given me their celeriac and hazelnut Kiev, which comes with cream leek, Roscoff onion and rosti potato. Now hopefully there won't be anything metal hiding in here. So let's have a taste of this Kiev. I mean, it looks very good. It's very nicely presented. So it does taste very much of celeriac. I can't taste a lot of hazelnut in it. It tastes mostly celeriac. Very tasty. I mean, it's a great vegetarian option. Really interesting menu. Very, very, very tasty. That's really nice. Now, I did ask the waitress about this little piece of metal that came out of my duck a moment ago when I had my first bite, and she's informed me that everything in this restaurant is shot. So they have gamesmen who go and shoot the duck, and presumably the venison as well is shot, and that they can't guarantee that the meat doesn't have any shot in it. So she said, very sorry, but that's just the risk you take when you come to this restaurant. It didn't actually say that on the website. It doesn't say it on the menu. There's no mention of you might be given a piece of metal that could break your teeth, but that's what they did. So hopefully there won't be any more shot. There certainly shouldn't be any in the celeriac. But let me finish this and I'll speak to you later. Okay, so the desserts have now arrived and I've got my lime cheesecake, which comes with mandarin and mango sorbet. And then we've got these little things on the top, so let's see what it's like. I've had a lot of cheesecakes in my time. That's very, very thin in terms of the consistency of it. It's more like whipped cream rather than what I would associate with normal cheesecake. It's nice. It's tasty. The biscuit's nice. You can taste the lime comes through. You may have one of these little biscuits that it's like. It's just sesame biscuit, sweet sesame biscuit. Quite nice, quite tasty. That doesn't taste like any cheesecake I've ever tasted before. I don't know whether that's a positive. It's nice. It's a tasty dessert. Let me have some of this, because I haven't had any of that. The mango sorbet is really tasty. That's really nice, really gold. That's a good compliment. But the consistency of this cheesecake is unusual. Let me finish it, and I'll speak to you about it later. Now, the cameraman has very kindly let me have a little bit of the chocolate torte with toasted oats ice cream. So I'll just have a little tiny piece of this. It looks very rich. Very chocolatey, very nice. It's a bit gloopy in terms of the consistency. So it's quite sticky on the tongue rather than melt in the mouth. It's sort of a bit stickier, but very tasty, very nice. Better give it back to the cameraman, otherwise I'll get told off. Okay, so here I am outside the Drunken Duck. I've got the bill. I've come outside because I wanted to be a bit more honest about everything. So the bill was £45 for 2 courses for 2 people, so that's £90, and then they charged a £10 service charge, so it was £99, which compared to the other meals that I've had in this area over the past few days, they've all been somewhere between £75 and £80. So it's above the average. It's certainly right at the top end. So given that, I was expecting the food to be fantastic, because I've had some very good meals here. The food across the board in Ambleside is very good. As you saw from the initial impression of my duck, unfortunately it did have a piece of shot in the very first bite. Now, that's obviously very unfortunate. It's a bit of a coincidence that it happened straight away, but it's not something that I've encountered before. I know with game it is a risk, because a lot of wild game is shot using shotguns, and therefore there's lots of little metal pellets that go into the air when they kill the animal, and there's always a chance that they haven't removed all of them. So I guess that's just par for the course, but it's not something that I've ever encountered in a restaurant before. Now, when I raised it with the waitress and said, I've got this small piece of metal, why is this in my duck? She was sort of a bit offhand, saying, well, obviously it's because it's shot, and that's just the way it is. Now, the way she said it was almost like I should have been expecting it, that it had been explained to me that might happen. It certainly wasn't on the menu, it's not on their website, nobody mentioned it when I placed the order. So I didn't feel like they dealt with it particularly well, but it did put me off the meal. Now, the duck itself, I felt was a little bit overcooked for me. I like it a little bit rare. It wasn't rare. It had been thoroughly cooked for a long time. So it was a little bit heavier than normal, a little bit chewier, not quite as tasty for me. It was a very rich meal, which, as advertised, so I can't complain about that. And all the accompaniments were all quite heavy as well. So overall, it was decent quality food, but I didn't really feel that it was the sort of thing that I wanted. Now, I did have some of the other main course, which was the celeriac and hazelnut Kiev. That was okay. It was quite nice. It was quite unusual, but wasn't something I'd want to pay a lot of money for. Now, the desserts came. My dessert was a lime cheesecake, which very tasty. It looked nice. It was well presented, but wasn't like any cheesecake I've ever had before, and I don't think of that in a positive context. It's not like they've invented a new cheesecake that I prefer in comparison to other cheesecakes. I think actually it was just a bit too light, and it wasn't quite as nice as I wanted it to be. So I'm a bit disappointed with the cheesecake, and then the chocolate tart was a bit gloopy. It was a bit heavy for me, so I didn't really enjoy that. So my overall summary of the meal here was that I was disappointed with it. I didn't think any of the dishes that I had were outstanding. I didn't think any of them were the best I've eaten this week. And it's certainly the most money that we paid this week. So overpriced. Food wasn't that great. I mentioned earlier on that they'd run out of lager and some of the other drinks. I don't know what's going on at this place. They closed the microbrewery down recently. You know, maybe it's struggling. I don't know what's happening, but overall wasn't as good as I expected. And as I said, this is in the middle of nowhere. I've had to drive in the pitch black for 20 minutes to get here down windy country lanes, and I'm now going to do that on the way home as well. It wouldn't be top of my list to come back here if I was coming to Ambleside again. I think I would definitely give it a firm swerve. In terms of the score, I think ambience and atmosphere in there, it was more like a pub. So it is a gastropub, but it didn't feel like a sort of a high-end gastropub. It felt more like a pub to me. So I think atmosphere-wise, I'm looking at sort of 6 out of 10 in terms of rating as a restaurant. In terms of the food, it's the same score, it's a 6. So overall, it's a 6 for the Drunken Duck, which for me doesn't justify the price tag of £99 for this meal. So very disappointed. Lots of people told me to come here. I wouldn't recommend to anybody else to come here. I think there's better places in Ambleside or the local area than here. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you found it useful, informative, and a bit thought-provoking. If you'd like to have said, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you again in the next.